That is the very last sighting of Riley Strain, right next to Cumberland River. And so that seems to be where the police are focusing their search, on foot and by boat and in the air. Riley's family and friends have come to help out, and two of them are with me live tonight. Chelsea Strain is Riley's cousin, and Chris Dingman is a friend of the family. Thank you both for coming on the program tonight. Chelsea, can I just start with you? Are there any updates yet? Anything that the police have told you?
You know, a lot of people are trying to keep me out of it as much as possible. Chris knows a lot more. The family's mostly talking to him about it.
Chris, do you know anything?
There are details.
Have you heard anything, Chris? Any updates from the last bit?
Yes, actually this evening we had a candlelight vigil here for Riley at his hometown in Springfield, and we had an excellent turnout. Literally moments before we went to the vigil, I was talking to family members that are currently downtown Nashville searching, and we have found another homeless person that had acknowledged Riley had been in that area. This now makes two people that has done confirmation. These are areas that the camera had stops. We don't have any footage, and basically the areas where his phone quit pinging. But we now do have visual confirmation from two different homeless camps that Riley was in that area.
Did the first or second homeless witness lend any more information to the tracking? Like, we have just been mapping out that tracking. Did this new witness, this new homeless person, lend any useful information to the search?
Where we're at right now, and it's still a little confusing because this literally come about 5 minutes before we went to the other vigil tonight. I don't remember which bridge which homeless person has been, but it is in same conjunction of what we have been thinking. Riley was heading north on 1st Street, and it was in that area that both camps, which under my standing, there's two large bridges right there, which have large homeless camps underneath them. I think in each camp, Riley was seen in each one.
It's fascinating and still so perplexing. Chelsea, your cousin is 6'7" and 160 pounds. I mean, that is a very, very unique build. I don't know if I've ever met anybody that tall and that slim, and yet not more people are able to say, "Oh, I absolutely saw that guy that night."
Yeah, we haven't really heard. I know there's not a lot of people that are coming out talking. I know they did a few interviews of the people that they've got camera footage from, that they saw him, but it's hard to watch the video and know that there were so many people around him and saw him, and none of them have really came to talk or came to say anything, or if they saw him go in a certain direction.
And certainly that can change, Chelsea, because it's getting a lot of coverage on television, the case of Riley's disappearance. And hopefully that will yield someone from that night who actually sees these videos and remembers, yeah, I was there, and I do remember seeing that guy. Because again, you know, he is very unique. His stature is very, very unique. When you see the videos, Chelsea, what do you see in the video? Do you see your cousin, or do you see something very unlike your cousin?
I do not see Riley in any of those videos. That's just, I've never seen him like that, and I've been with him many, many times and many certain occasions, and I've never seen him act or walk like that, ever.
And it's not normal for him to wander off by himself, want to be alone, maybe take a couple days, just sort of check out?
No, all of us are very close with our families. We talk to, I know Riley and I both talk to our moms more than twice a day. We call, check in. We don't really like to be alone. We're very friendly people. We like to be around people all the time. So for him to wander off by himself and not just stand there or try to wait somewhere for his friends is just not like him.
So, Chris, I'm going to ask you the same kind of question with sort of a twist. When you see the video of Riley struggling, it doesn't seem like his friends were intoxicated at the same level, and there are a lot of people who have some theories about that. Do you?
We have some theories about possibly what would have happened at the bar. It's been wild that we've had such an excellent outpouring of people from Nashville, one trying to help find Riley, sending us information. We've had people that has sent us case situations of something similar to Riley's. We've had over 100 of those sent to us in the last 3 years. That's happened there. Me personally, I've known Riley since he was born, and he's like one of my kids. I do not see him. Riley was very loving, very affectionate. He was extremely non-confrontational, which amazed a lot of people. He is a very tall kid. We called him our little sailboat because he was just so skinny he could just blow anywhere. But the things that we were told that happened in the bar situation just does not track with the Riley that we have known and been with our entire life. Several people that was in the vicinity at that bar has made the same comments watching the videos. Other fraternity brothers from even the past that has been brothers with Riley. We've yet to have anybody that said, oh yeah, I've seen Riley in a position like that before. We want to thank Luke Bryant's restaurant. Naturally, we're not seeing any of the footage, but they immediately got with the police, turned over footage. They've been working with the police on this, and we greatly appreciate the help that they're trying to put forth. But there's definitely something wrong, we think, in that situation before Riley left the bar.
Yeah, I know there is some speculation that perhaps, he was drugged and there might have been an attempt to rob him because, again, his friends did not seem to be suffering at the same level of intoxication that Riley was. We will continue to tell your story. I can't thank you both enough for coming on tonight. Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.